Hello and welcome to the Crow and the Unicorn's first interview. Some of you may know us from having joined us at our live sisterhood circles, or you've been to our Facebook page, or you have found us on our website. We are really excited tonight to help us explore and join up women all over the world with things that we have found really exciting and interesting. You can find us on Facebook, as I said, and Instagram, so please do follow us for more interviews to come in the future. However, tonight I'm going to pass you to Nicola to introduce what we're doing.
Hello sisters, thank you for joining us today. I'd like to introduce Annie Jameson, who is a sound healer, crystal bowl healer and a musician. Annie's love and passion is playing her crystal bowls, her crystal singing bowls, which helps people to relax and distress. Annie's also played on New Zealand international flights, her music, and also at Scott Base in Antarctica to help the crew get through the long winter nights. You can find Annie's music on Spotify and also on Apple Music, and she plays to thousands on thousands of people monthly. Annie is also the author of books of The Light of Chileo, thank you, Messages from Heaven, a small book of universal wisdom, and she's also got some inspiration cards which are called Insights from Heaven. And you can also find a lot more about Annie on Instagram and also on Facebook. And as a holistic healer and sound healer, Annie contacted me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And she asked me to listen to some of her beautiful music, which I have been listening since. And I love listening. It's beautiful. It's beautiful music. I feel my whole body vibrating. I feel so deeply relaxed after I listen to your music. So on that note, I'm very, very, very honoured to introduce Annie to you, to tell us about her story and where her journey started. So Annie, I'm so honoured. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shona and Nicola. It's an absolute delight. It's incredible that, you know, in this world right now, we can connect with anybody from anywhere in the world. And, you know, we haven't always done that. So this is just an absolute gift. So I was just going to begin and tell you how my story began. I'm a bit of a storyteller because I love people's stories, and you just don't know. When you meet someone in the street, you don't know that whole beautiful story that, you know, was within that person. So I began in my childhood. My mother was very spiritual, and she was brought up as a Lutheran. She was Norwegian, and I was brought up in a Christian background, but spirituality was always a very big thing. But as a teenager, I just wanted my mother to bake cakes. I really didn't want her to be doing anything else, and she was way, way ahead of her time. And so I kind of ignored that side of me until, you know, in life you come to a critical point where you realize that life isn't quite going as you thought. And it was in 1991, and now I look back, it was on the 9th of the 1st, 1991. So it had 3 1s and 3 9s, but I didn't do that on purpose. I don't remember doing that. I sat in meditation at the end of my bed, as one does, you know. And I knew that I wanted to invite the angelic realm. That was where I wanted to tune into. And I asked to be connected to my guardian angel of only the highest source of light and love. I wasn't wanting to go in any other realm or connect with anything else. I just wanted that energy. And as I sat there, this incredible energy came through my body. Bit now. And I had this, this sort of shivery, you probably felt it sometimes when you know you're just in tune. Like now I know what that is. It's like, whoa, like that. And I felt my ears unblocking. And then I found I could hear clairaudiently and I could see clairvoyantly. And I asked my angel's name, you know, just like you would if someone comes to your house, you want to know who it is. And I asked who it was, and I heard clairaudiently And I saw the name written out, so I knew it was Chilao, spelled Chilao. And it was very, very clear. And then I kind of sat there, and then I found that I was able to ask questions. I don't know how long that meditation went on for, but I wrote down the name. And then the next night I thought, I wonder if I sit on the end of my bed again, see if I can do it again. And again, I found that I could connect, but it was a conscious act of connecting. I wasn't just sitting there randomly. So always with my guardian angel, I invite and invoke. I don't just randomly let any spirit come in and talk to me. That's a conscious connection. And so I began to write, and every night I would write and I would ask a question. And then after many months, I didn't show anybody. I kept that to myself. And then after many months, and I would write it down, and then I'd write it out nicely, you know, for myself. I realized that actually what was coming through, there might be some of my questions, but what was coming through was the highest energy. There was no ego in it. And that the questions that I was asking were really generic to everybody. So the answers were generic. And this went on, and it went, and then I moved to New Zealand. I got married to a Kiwi. I had my family, but I was still tuning in and doing this. And 16 years later, so after all this, I'd been doing this, my husband was away overseas. Often when he's away, then I get much more of a tuning in, because I haven't got the distraction of everything. And it was on a particularly grumpy day. Kids were probably driving me crazy. And I had this real Eeyore day where everything, I just thought, I didn't like my clothes. Bleh. And I thought, I'm going to clear out my drawers. I'm going to clear out everything. And in my side drawer, I pulled out these writing. I've been reading it over the years, so it wasn't anything special. But as I picked it up, I heard clairaudiently, this needs to go into print now. And I went, what? Like, you know, I'm not a writer. And I pretended I didn't hear it. Have you ever tried to walk away from guidance? That's a joke, you know. I didn't know, you know, I walked out into the other room. I carried on doing something else. And all weekend, all I heard was that voice. This needs to go into print, and on and on and on. And when my husband came home, he found me sitting at the computer. And in those days, I mean, I didn't even know how to use a computer, like the dinosaur. And I was just trying to tap out, you know, letter by letter, the writing. And he said, he got up at 5 in the morning, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing a book. And he went, oh. I said, you know, it's not my words, it's spirit. You know, it's the angelic realm. And every step of that journey, I had to trust. And I was scared. I was absolutely scared stiff. Because I thought, what am I doing? This is so out of my comfort zone. In fact, for the last 30 years, I've been so out of my comfort zone. And I go into, and I often have this thing when I'm in my sort of lower self, as I call it, when the ego's really there and hanging on for dear life, then I want to just go and work in the library. I just get a job in the library when I don't have to do anything, you know, and nothing will get me. I'll just carry on. And then we move through it, and now we laugh about it at home. My husband says, oh, okay, something big's about to happen, because I'm freaking out. You know? But over the years, I have learned to trust that voice and that inner voice. In fact, it's now become a joke, because when anything, you know, we have a question, what should we do with our caravan? What should we do? My husband, Michael, will say, you know, we'll discuss it, and I'll have a different opinion to him. And he'll say, go and tune into Chilao. And I say, no, I'm, you know, listen to me. And he goes, no, let's have a higher perspective. And often the higher perspective agrees with him. That is so annoying. So that's how I started my journey of trusting and allowing. Do you want me to go on?
No, that's brilliant. No, fantastic. It would be lovely to say, how did you move kind of into the different realms and into sound healing with the crystal bowls from.
Okay,
and
so
I've read in
yeah,
the
so
book.
I was channeling, I was giving angelic readings. So I don't work as a medium, I work in the higher realms to bring through what people most need. And in that space, then I was guided to do healing. And I did auric magnetic healing, not with magnets, but with my hands. And it would be clearing the energy field. And I did this for about 6 years, you know, with people coming here. And then more and more, I kept feeling that sound was, I don't know, an easier route through. And a lot of the healers here had the Tibetan singing bowls. So I thought I better have one, literally like that, I better have one. But I couldn't make it sing, literally, I couldn't make it sing. And I thought, it's not going to heal anyone having that screeching. And about 30 years ago, I heard my first singing bowl, crystal singing bowl. It was a white crystal singing bowl, and this lovely man come down from Wales, David Cousins, and he would start a meditation with a crystal bowl and finish. That was all I knew about crystal bowls. But he had said that if you play this music, which is such a high vibration crystal, it will clear the energy in any room. It will clear the energy. So I bought this little cassette tape, and I would have it playing in my flat, and I would go out to work and I'd leave it clearing. You know, I didn't know that this is what I'd be doing. And yeah, one day it came about that I received guidance that the reason that the Tibetan bowls weren't playing for me was that that was not my energy. There's nothing wrong with Tibetan bowls. It's but you just have to match your energy with what, you know, you can only be you. And so I brought my first bowl in. My husband brought it back from England because there weren't really any in New Zealand then. Like, we're right at the other end of the world. So it came in from Glastonbury, actually, my first bowl. Came all the way over here. And then I realized, sorry,
Annie. So with your bowls, do they have different frequencies? So do some of your bowls have like a 5 to 8 hertz for love, 111 for healing? Do your bowls have different frequencies that you use, or?
Okay, so these bowls, these ones that I have in the background, these beautiful beings here, they're all made from crystal tones, and the way that they're created, they're 99.9% pure quartz crystal. They're fired up to really high temperatures, like 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And then what they do, these are now alchemy bowls, and I'll just show you one here. What I prepared earlier. No, here we go. This is chrysoprase and quartz. So alchemy, so they take the pure quartz, they fire it to high temperatures, and then they add another metal, mineral, or gemstone into the fire, which then fuses with the quartz, and then you're getting this alchemy, and you're getting not only the note. So with these bowls, they're born with their voice, if you like. Nobody's made them. You're going to be a 5 to 8. You're going to be a root bowl. They're made on a mold. They're not all that shape, you know, they're different shapes. When they come out, they're tested for their note. This one, I don't know if you can hear it on there. They've got incredible resonance. So this particular note, just done, is the high heart. So it's the thymus, and it bridges the heart and the throat, and it's unconditional love.
And where do you buy all your bowls from? Are they handmade for you, or do you buy them?
No. There's a big company in the States that makes these particularly alchemy crystal singing bowls.
It's so beautiful.
They are so they're not only beautiful to look at, they are beautiful to play. And as you can see in the background, these are all different crystals. So they might, this one actually has got platinum in as well. Platinum, gold, gone blank. Mount
It's
Shasta.
really like a gift from the earth as well, out into the air with all the
So they're born with their voice, and then people, you know, either you can, I mean, I use them for healing. I use them in music. So my passion, I love creating music to bring about healing. So when I'm creating music, I think when I first started, I played, you know, like when you're learning an instrument, you play it. Like you play it and you learn it. The more I play now, the less I physically play. So I allow the bowl to play.
Yeah.
So the resonance just holds people in a space. As my son said the other day, it's all about, Mum, it's about holding space. Holding space so that people can then come into their center. And my favorite words are aligning to the divine. Because when we're aligned, when all our chakras are balanced, when we're feeling centered, then we receive that energy, which we're always tapped in. You know, we're not separate from it, but when our ego completely gets out of control, and believe me, I know what that feels like. Honestly, it's like a roller coaster, and particularly at the moment, there's a lot of roller coastering going on, and it's sometimes you think, I cannot grasp this groundedness. I'm just all like you've been put in a washing machine. And I do have an analogy. When I left school, I studied ceramics. That was my passion, and art and things. But I have a really good analogy that I came up with that helps, I feel, in life. So when you're making a pot, I don't know if you've ever made a pot, you have to get your clay, you have to get the air bubbles out, and then you put it into a ball and you throw it on the wheel plate, and you try and get it into the center as much as you can. Then you add the water, and then you spend time getting that piece of clay centered. And that's one of the biggest things. You cannot make a pot if it's not centered. So you'll see potters, they'll sit there, you know, they're with a hand and waiting till it's absolutely spot on. Because if it is not absolutely centered and you start to pull it out and pull up the sides, you never can get it centered once it's off. So this pot is doing this. And then finally it goes like that. And I've always thought that's such a good analogy, because if you start your day, or there's a moment in your day where you're completely off center, don't make those big decisions. You're not going to you're going to be off center like this.
I really love the clay analogy as well, because whilst you're still on the wheel with the clay, you can, you know, you can kind of refold and start again and find your center. So it's like, you know, the music, find your space and then kind of go again. You've not, take that breath, don't keep wobbling off. I love that. It's really good.
It wobbles everyone else, of course, and everyone. I mean, my husband, he says, I'm really trying to stay centered. When one's off, it's very hard for the other one to stay centered. It's it's an interesting thing.
But so you've been talking about obviously how you found your love for the music and coming into the healing. How do you want to take that forward in the future? Kind of where do you want your healing and your music to sort of the next little baby steps, not maybe years, but kind of where are you
I have
going
lots of I have huge visionary things, and then I panic, because it's like, oh my God, why did I put that out there? Because that's way too scary. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas, In fact, we have this funny thing my husband says, because I have so many ideas. He says ideas only on Tuesdays, because it's literally, he's like, it can't be Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and I got the idea. So one of my passions is to help young people. And as I was mentioning to you, I had two young boys, one of 15 and one of 18, and the mum of the younger one came here 3 years ago. And the younger one had such a profound experience where he said it was the first time ever he'd managed to calm his mind and just stop it going, you know, like all the time. And he said, oh my God, at the end, we were looking at him and like, what's he going to say? And he went, I'm so happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy. What have you done to my brain? And that made us all look at him and said, what do you mean? He said, I've got to do research in this. You've done something to my brain waves to slow me down. I've never been able to do that. So we scroll forward, actually a rather sweet thing. When he left here, he got in the car because they'd been studying for exams. Got in the car and he said to his mother, oh my God, maybe she's wiped my brain clean. I won't remember anything tomorrow. But of course, it's not that. It's just put a pause, like putting up refresh on your computer. And of course, yeah, you know, everything comes back, but you go much more into your right brain. The right brain is more active than the analytical, if that's the right way, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right. And so scroll forward, we did a pilot study, clinical trial before COVID, fortunately. And we had 11 or 12 teenage boys, not the easiest group, okay? 16-year-old boys. That says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they had to fill in a questionnaire, 24 questions on mood states, depression, anxiety, sleep, diddly-do. They did not know me. They did not know, they hadn't heard my music. They hadn't seen me on Spotify. We kept them as clean as we possibly could. They just knew that they were coming up to listen to Crystal Bowls. They filled in the form. They came into the room. We just dimmed it a bit. And they had a yoga mat. And I physically played. We did this as a physical, you know, me playing. And within 10 to 15 minutes, they were out. Looked like I put a spell on the whole thing. And I was thinking, teenagers need this. It was in the middle of the day, you know, it wasn't like nighttime. And the trial was for 25 minutes exactly. And the young boy, who now is 18, he was allowed to sit in. He couldn't be part of the study. And as I started to play, he started to just, like, he couldn't stay away. His head was going as well. And then at the end, he was like, you know, I'm supposed to be helping here. And then he looked around the room, and of course they were, you know, out. And we were like, and then they filled in the questionnaire again. And then it went off to a biostatistician. And it has come back that they did show an improvement in anxiety and depression. So we're just waiting. A paper has been written, and we're waiting for it to be published. Everyone keep your fingers crossed. Because then my passion is then to get it into schools. Not me physically playing, because I can't do that, but if it could go to counsellors to access the kids that are really struggling. Because I mean, I tried to meditate at 16. Boys are not likely to sit and meditate, and you can't stop your mind going. So the same thing will be scrolling around. For some reason, these incredible crystal beings, they take you somewhere else, and it just slows the brain waves to, say, an alpha wave. And then if it's deeper, you know, it goes down to theta and then delta. So if you can put a pause on a day that, or for kids that are in May, you know, they get angry, you know what I mean? Teenagers are doing their thing. That's one of my passions anyway. Get it out.
I just think it's amazing. I think especially kind of our young people today, there's so much stimulation. There's you know, there's social media, there's mobile telephones.
Oh, yeah.
When do they get to switch off? You know, if I'd had my mobile telephone when I was, you know,
me
16
too.
21, I'd been on it at 3 o'clock in the morning going, what are people saying about me now? Has anybody liked my latest photograph? What, you know, so the anxiety.
Absolutely.
And that's just kind of the normal anxiety, never mind the children who are having to deal with more in their lives and exam pressure and make decisions.
And the thing is, with headphones, you know, if you're at school and you're having a really rotten time, if you've got your headphones on, nobody knows what you're listening to. That's the beauty of it. Nobody knows if you're listening to the Rolling Stones or you're listening to, you know, Harmonies for the Soul or Tranquility or something that is dropping you out of it. And I've tried it, and of course when you listen to your own music, it's a different thing. But I remember feeling quite stressed and thinking, well, I'm going to try it myself, you know, put the headphones on, you know, shut my eyes, and maybe 10 minutes. And I thought, well, yeah, that 10 minutes won't do anything. But actually, when you open your eyes again, you are in a different space. It's literally just taken that, it's helped you breathe again, I think.
Definitely.
What do you think, Nicola? It makes you
Definitely.
breathe.
It does. It does. You know, as I said before, I feel my whole body vibrating. I feel my meridians and my chakras clearing. I'm quite energy sensitive, so I don't need the headphones. I can feel it without.
Yeah. So it's best, you know, I mean, having a physical sound bath, of course, but in this day and age, you know, with all the lockdowns and what have you, you know, people aren't always out there. You know, not everyone can connect. I mean, in New Zealand, we're blessed because we can, but in other countries, you can't just go anywhere and do anything. But you can have the vibration coming out through a speaker, a UE boom, where you'll feel the vibration, or through your headphone. You know, it's just taking you somewhere else. And then the next passion of mine would be, we hope to do a, not electrical, I can't even think what it is. It's completely gone. Where we test the brain to see what the brain waves are doing. That's another trial. But you know, to get into the system, well, the medical system or any, you know, it's not about alternative or medical. It's trying to bridge the two. And with sound, it's not so woo-woo, because sound is, you know, vibration is vibration, and everyone can feel it, and everybody knows what they feel like when they're listening to nice music, as opposed to, you know, the 1812, but yeah, you know, you know, jumping out of your skin. We all know how we can move from one piece of music to the next, changing our mood. It's a known thing. So just because it's made with crystal bowls, the music, it's just getting people's mind, a shift of their mind space, you know.
Annie, can I ask you a quick question? My 8-year-old son, he has quite a lot of trouble sleeping sometimes. He's had night tremors before, and he do come down, and yeah, he'll come down, and he does have trouble sleeping. But I always, when he has that, he sometimes says, "Mummy, can you play a song called Merlin's Magic?" But what music would you suggest to play for him, like if he's restless and he can't go to sleep? I remember you saying maybe before you had some music that could help children to sleep. And
yeah, so there's yeah, so there's one well, there's lots of different music, but Gentle Sleep and Serenity is one that is 70 minutes long, so you can just have it. You don't, the thing with this music is you don't need it loud. Even if you have it on really low, that vibration is seeping along, and it's actually more, yeah, it's not about that whoa sound. If you start that, it's also got rain just gently in the background, so you've got that sound as well. And those are very deep notes, and they like pulsing, so it takes you more into the delta wave. There's another track out called Deep Binaural Bliss, and I don't know, you have to see, you know, if a child would like those sounds, but that is a pulsing which also takes you into the delta waves. So that's literally, it's not a melodious thing, it's more a, so it's 1.5 hertz, which is that delta brainwave, and it, after a while the brain goes, oh, okay, we need to slow down. So that type of thing will just take you into the space.
And does that also as well? I have a 13-year-old puppy which can be really lively sometimes, and he really does need calming. I play dog calming music sometimes. It does work. Other people say it doesn't, but I think it does work to calm him when he's, especially when he's going through the witching hour and he's really going berserk sometimes.
Yeah.
You play music. Do you have music that helps animals as well, to calm animals?
Not specifically, but I know I went and gave a concert once, and there was a puppy, you know, before the concert going absolutely berserk, how they run in circles. And I literally started to play, so it didn't have to be a particular track. The puppy literally lay down, not like that, obviously, lay down and went to sleep. And then she sent me a photo later, exactly the same thing. He was going crazy. She put the music on, the vibration in the room. Again, the puppy lay down. So it's have it on in the background or in the room, you know, where they are. I mean, everybody's responding to vibration. Our cat sadly has gone to the angels, but when I'd bring a new bowl home, she'd sit in the other room and she'd look at it like her eyes, because she thought, what is she? And it was interesting. She didn't seem to respond in the deep notes. I thought she wouldn't want to be near it, but she wouldn't mind being right up close. But it's a high note, you know, it's getting the frequency. But just having it on, just give it a try.
Thank you.
I mean, actually, that would be lovely to have it on in the vet. When I went to the dentist the other day, they put my music on, and as I'm lying there, you know, and the noise in the dentist, and suddenly I could hear dong, and I think that's a crystal bowl. And they had my music playing over the speakers.
Did they know?
Calming everyone in the dentist.
Did the dentist know it was your music, or did they?
Oh yeah, they put it on because yeah.
Oh, that's lovely of them. Help you relax a bit as well.
Yeah.
But well, with the music you do, have you personally got one of your songs or a piece of music that you've done that you have just had so much connection to, that you really, really love, almost like a favorite piece of music? Or is it...
I do actually. It's a funny thing. Well, there's two actually that are absolute. One is Tranquility. Tranquility was the one that we did actually for the trial with the boys, teenagers. Everyone loves Tranquility. And I've just brought one out, Deeply Serene. That's another one that's actually got a binaural in the back, and that is like, I just go before I create music, you know, I'm in that space. And before Tranquility, it's like, what is missing? And I went to a friend and I was meditating, and suddenly I knew what it was, and I came back that day and recorded it because I knew what the element was. It's a sort of feely thing. But yes, it's just one of those things. I think, I'd love to use those bowls. So there's Lemurian Embrace, which is Lemurian seed crystal. So all of the bowls they've got all of these different frequencies. They've got all the energetics of each crystal. So you're getting not just the notes, you're getting, and also like here again, you're getting the color frequency as well as the note. So you can see in there.
Yeah.
Purple, that's not me, you know, that's...
Yeah, you can see the sort of sheen as it comes across.
Yeah,
like
so those vibrations, you know, color is a vibration. That's what the chakras do. So with the music, instead of, I do have a track called Chakra Balancing, which is on Weaving Sacred Sound. So you can just listen to that and think, I just need some help getting centered. And it starts below the earth. So I do the earth chakra, and then it goes up. With the music, of course, I'm playing right across, you know, 2 octaves. So if that is not, this one is not tuned to a piano or 40 hertz, because the note, actually just a mallet. Hold on, I just want to show you something exciting. When I go round, I have to stand up. So when I go round the bowl, that's the note, F sharp, which is just happy, you know, it's F sharp. That's the note. Then when I tap it, you get this overtones. So when say if I tested that on my computer, it's covering many notes.
Yeah.
So it's not about, it's just doing that, you know, it's just doing that part of the heart, or it's just doing this. You can't really, you can say this will work on the root chakra, but you're getting much more, you know, like it's so expansive. So when you're listening, it's not just one note, there's many notes. And of course, when that note then merges with another note with the music, you're then having another whole, you know what I mean? It's sort of, it's very difficult to explain. And I'm sure from from a spiritual perspective, you can't put words in it. You know, it's color, it's light,
it's there. So I think sometimes it's those things that you have to put your headphones on or have a nice pair of speakers, or if you can
just breathe into it. And you
Yeah.
might find that you're not calm, you know, right at the beginning, because you've got to calm your breath down, and then suddenly it's like, oh
Yeah. Were you talking about the root chakra? So with your video that we're going to play at the end, it has, you know, beautiful place of nature. So is that your favorite place in nature that you ever played your bowls, or have you played somewhere like
yes, I play all of, yeah, that was an amazing place, actually. There's a huge waterfall at the bottom, but we walked all the way down to the bottom, and then it started rain. I walked all the way back up. And I love playing in nature. In fact, I have a very funny story. When I first had my first bowl, we went to the ocean, and it's very embarrassing having a mother who's coming along with a bowl, you know, on the beach. so my son swam away from me. But I was sending blessings into the ocean for the dolphins. I played to the dolphins too. That's another story. And he said, you know, even with the wind and the sound of the waves, you know, like it's noisy, the note just cut through. You could still hear it, you know, in the wind. And I was very blessed to play to the dolphins in Hawaii. And that was one of my passions for our anniversary, my husband and I. So we went there with the kids, and we went on this little boat. It wasn't a big dolphin, it was a little boat, and two other people, strangers, who probably thought, who have they got on the boat with? And I sent out a prayer, and I was going to have all these prayers in my head. I could not think of anything. All I could think was, I love you, I love you. I just stood on the boat, and it was a tiny boat. And the lady who was, you know, running this, she suddenly shrieked at me, and she said, no! And 3 or 4 dolphins had come to the surface to listen. And she said, they don't do that because they're in a pod. They don't just go, oh, there's a concert. I'll go to the top. And one put his head out, and the others just had their blowhole to the top. Wow. And I asked her, I said, and then so I asked a kahuna from Hawaii, and what was that? And she said they recognized it was sacred medicine. Amazing. So I'm passionate about dolphins. Yeah. And then we went swimming with them. And then, because now all the rules and laws have changed around dolphins, you cannot go near them. So when I came back to New Zealand, people said, well, why are you doing that in Hawaii? Why don't you do it in New Zealand? And so we took a group out of about 24 people. And unfortunately that day I'm not good on boats. So doing this for 2 hours and no dolphins. And then my girlfriend said, I thought you were supposed to be playing a bowl. And I went, you're trying to hold your stomach. You don't want to play a bowl. But I wedged myself in these bars, and there were a few dolphins. And then suddenly everyone was clapping and singing because there were a few dolphins. There were suddenly 200 dolphins, and with babies, and they were swimming and feeding and swimming. And the skipper was going berserk on the top. Oh my God. And I just kept, you know, playing, and we were singing because dolphins love happiness. Yeah, so that was incredible. He said to us, you should come back again. But yeah, it was the boat bit that I wasn't so keen on. But yeah, and the dolphins, you're only allowed to be with them a certain amount of time, but the dolphins stayed with us. Like we weren't, you know, they love that energy. And I took my highest vibration, I've got that bowl here, the highest note I had, because, you know, they've got really high sonar. So yeah, I'm passionate about all these things.
Well, they say that dolphins are dolphins are the angels of the sea, don't they?
Yeah.
They're just incredibly
anytime,
intelligent.
if I ever dream of them, I mean, you know, they're just such beautiful energy.
They need to be protected as well. You know,
absolutely.
And so much care for our oceans. But thankfully, I mean, especially with you living in New Zealand, you've got quite a good kind of nature conservation kind of going on in the coast. I know, so I'm a marine biologist by trade, so I loved hearing your story there. And even I get sick in boats. So, yeah, especially out in the North Sea, which is where I tended to go and do around.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I grew up in Kent with the North Sea right there.
But that's an absolutely amazing, beautiful kind of sharing of nature, and just goes to show like a connection that we can make with the animals that is almost on their terms as well, you know, kind of energetically.
To give something. And that's the other thing. My boys, my younger one used to be so embarrassed by what I do, but now it's that age. But now they absolutely love it. But he said it's not about them giving you. What about you giving to them? Mm-hmm. My kids are much more into the gift economy. Like give. That the new generation coming up is. If there's a new paradigm, there's a new way of being. It's about giving. Yeah. What can you do to be of service? They have a lot to teach us.
I think the youth always do, and unfortunately sometimes I think that, I mean, obviously it's the sharing and the balance, but I think sometimes we do need to listen a bit more to the young people.
Totally. I feel we're the springboard that they take off. Every generation then is, they go to another place, so it's paying attention to what they're on about. Yeah.
But it just you're so busy with so many things going on. I mean, you talked earlier about doing the readings and the book and your cards, and I mean, are the readings and things something that you're still doing? Do you do that? How you've been doing that kind of?
Yes, yeah. So I love doing the readings. So as I said, I bring in the angelic realm to help people move forward right now. So it's not about telling you this will happen in 5 years. I've never shown that, so I wouldn't make it up. It's about now, because we're creating our now. And it's what I'm shown is usually where someone's emotional stuff, where they are in the emotions and how to move out of that and take direction. So I do that. I mean, more on Zoom now, because people. I don't really have many physical people coming here, and it's accessible again across the world.
Oh, that's amazing. And so, if somebody wanted to book a reading with you, would they go maybe your Facebook page to contact you?
Yeah, they can contact me on there, or just my email.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we can put all that.
Just contact me with an email, it's easier.
Okay, well, we can put all that information up kind of at the end. We'll pop your email up and things like that. So if people want to do a reading and follow your music and things, that they can find everything.
Thank you.
Have you got anything else?
No, I think you've covered it all, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been absolutely fascinating. I don't know I know that we've been kind of nodding along, just enthralled.
I've got so many stories. Yeah. They're usually funny stories, mine.
Well, there's definitely been a lot of smiles tonight from all of us. So, I mean, maybe this is something we can come back and explore. I'd love to, in a few months' time, find out how the paper's going and things like that as well.
Yeah, we'll all put the angelic realm will bring things. It's a bit like I had this idea, or I was given the idea that the music should go on to Air New Zealand, because I was flying back and forth with my family, in a long flight and stressful. And I'd said to my husband, my music needs to be on here, but he was busy watching the movies, and it didn't manifest for a year, and patience is a challenge. Yeah. And I kept seeing it, and I could feel it. I could feel it. I could feel myself sitting on the plane going, my music's on here, listen, and it was on this particular day that my younger son, he lives over in Denmark, and he said, Mom, let the idea go. And I said, I can't let this one go, because it's come from a higher space. It's not me. It's so strong. Yeah. And it was that day that it all came about.
See, that's just inspirational.
I just suddenly found the phone number of this guy and thought it was a personal phone. I thought, just go for it, Annie. You're not going to lose anything. If he answers the phone, you've got 2 minutes to pitch it. You know, a bit like the dragons,
Yeah.
the dragon thing. And the poor guy, I mean, he did answer the phone. He probably went, who is this woman? And yeah, within 5 minutes, he had written back saying, yep, okay. If you're ready to proceed, we're uploading to Air New Zealand now. I've been waiting a year, and then I had to get my act together. And then it was suddenly on Air New Zealand. And it was divine timing. You know, that alignment, the angels will bring it from this physical space. We think, oh, it should be now. It should be now. But if you just keep holding the vision and holding that vision, if it feels strong, if it disappears, then it obviously wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
You know, but timing is always it's a different thing, you know, in the spiritual world than the physical world. And then once you've taken that step, then the next step comes. That's what I was saying before. I have no idea. And if you told me 15 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would have freaked out. I'd say, what are you talking about? I don't even play crystal bowls. How can I possibly be creating music? That would have just, I would have gone and lived in the library.
I'm glad you did. So,
Yeah. So it's about just listening. And if it feels good in your gut feeling, actually, one thing I just want to share with you, I should turn that off. One thing I just wanted to share with you is when you are in your center. So I came up with a trick just for myself to help myself. My best place is out walking in the morning. I'm really tuned in. I'm in that zone. If I have an idea, it drops in then I write it down. And at the top of the page, I write, I'm really tuned in right now. Because, there you are, maybe it's the angels. I was going to turn this off. I'm really tuned in right now because tomorrow I might not be feeling in that tuned in space, and I'll go, oh, what was that idea? That was a crazy idea. And it's being able to know where you are when these ideas are coming.
I think that's an amazing tip.
Yeah.
And if you still feel good about it, because usually the next day you're sort of, you know, weedy wombat, and then I'll look and I think, no, surely I didn't get that in, you know. But then that was when I was aligned, and when I rang Air New Zealand, I was in the zone. I was like aligned. I wasn't all sketty. I was like, focus, you're going to do this.
I think that's also so important as well about taking your cues from the universe and listening to your feelings as well, and having that brave step forwards. And as like you said, you know, what have you got to lose?
I mean, I have to surrender, courage. I mean, the constant courage. Give me the courage to do that. Like, what are you coming up with now? But I mean, it's not someone telling you to do that. I wouldn't do it. We have free will. But if it feels, when you're in alignment and you know that you're aligned and you get that, it's a gut feeling and a heart expansion. This feels really good, and I can see that support. You know, like the music can help babies and birthing, and you know, I had that years ago, and now suddenly that's starting to work. It's not all instant time.
Like you said, the universe has been around for a very long time, and our thoughts of how time work, we in the physical realm are very linear with our time. We're very from one spot to the next, and just but outside of our linear time, it's everywhere. There is no linear time in the spiritual realm the way that we view it. So so patience.
But one of the gifts, excuse me, I just suddenly thought, I feel my mother, she would always say, you can have the ideas, you know, from the angelic, wherever, but in the physical world you need to take action. So it's not about just, oh, I had this idea and I'll sit back. We're the physical vehicle that then takes the action in the physical world, and then the next idea comes, you know.
Yeah.
That was, I just want to say, the next idea, you know, the Tuesdays, this is where my husband was, when I was shown it needed to go to Antarctica and the Arctic Circle. I mean, you know, not the easiest thing, you know. And he just says, he goes, no, it can't be Tuesday. And I said, you know, I've been shown this. How did you get your music to the Antarctica? And then he said, Scott bass. But of course, you've got to pitch it to Scott bass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're talking crystal bowl music. It's not something that they know about. And it's the persistence and just finding the way through to access.
And
You know, and it's not being
harmony.
played all the time down there, but it's down there.
Mm.
You know.
And it's down there when it's needed, especially. Yeah.
And somebody may, when they're down there, because it's very challenging through the winter months, each year I tell them, remind them, and they go, oh, thank you so much. Yes, we really, you know, because they get quite down. You know, you've got no lights for months, it's freezing cold. But it might be someone one day down there that is just feeling whatever, and they just put their hand on that CD to pull out. You know, they might have just sent up a prayer, you know, help me be more centered or whatever, and then they're guided to just, oh, I didn't know that was there. You know, the chance is not a chance by chance, you know.
Guidance to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It has been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
To play out this evening, I have a YouTube video, which I'm just going to share to end the video tonight. But, you know, again, just thank you. And
Thank you. Thank you, Annie.
Bless you.